As good as the note-taking and notebook experience is, when we're talking about reader side of things, that's where stuff gets to be a little shaky, because there's, quite a few things. First of all, that's a very, very strange thing, is that the Origin uses two separate apps for reading. One is for reading ebook formats, such as EPUBs, and another one, which is a dedicated PDF reader that is sideloaded the very first time you attempt to open up a PDF and on the Origin. Now, the PDF reader as an app isn't pre-installed because Mobiscribe developers and as a company are acutely aware of the open source licensing agreements, and they choose to respect them in a proper way. I think that this is highly commendable, especially when you take into consideration that some other companies, mainly books, is still consciously ignoring these laws and is refusing to respect the GPL agreements that any company that uses any open source product, such as Android is, because it's built on Linux kernel, they're required to do so by law. So I think it's a very nice and a commendable thing to see that a company is doing things the proper way. I value that quite a bit. Now back onto the book reading stuff. Book reading and PDF reading are unfortunately two completely disconnected experiences. For example, in an EPUB, it is possible to long press a word and then adjust that selection to create, and this is where the idiosyncrasies begin, to create a bookmark. So this is basically how you bookmark stuff. Any kind of selection that you do, it can either remain as a selection or you can convert it to a bookmark by tapping this here, and then you can edit the name of the bookmark itself. So bookmarking is there and it works, but as a different kind of things, you have formatting and all that kind of stuff, and that's stuff that I'm going to be talking about when I cover it as an in-depth guide. In this review, yes, you do have formatting options, you can change the orientation, you can change a lot of these things. Not amazing, but perfectly adequate in quite a few options, but you are not able to take or write down notes. So it's not stylus aware if you are in an EPUB mode. However, if you open up a PDF document, you will be greeted by an entirely different app, because an entirely different app is responsible for handling PDF reader side of things. And in here, while we are able to zoom and kind of pan in a very weird way, we can pan, it's not that easy to do. You cannot long press words and you cannot select words. You can't bookmark in PDFs, but you certainly can write down your notes. You can use text highlighting, so I can highlight like this, but this is a regular PDF highlighter. There's nothing I can do with this. It does translate when it's exported, that's a good thing. So if that's what you're looking for, then you have it, that's great. But if you want to add annotations, if you want to search by these highlights or anything like that, you don't have that ability. However, in this PDF reader, you have another functionality which is absolutely amazing, which is you're able to insert a notebook page right into the PDF file. Now, for me, this is a really, really big deal because it does something that no other platform does, except for QuirkLogic Paper, but QuirkLogic is not dealing with PDFs directly. It needs to convert it into their format, and then you can insert pages and do these things. And these are the only two platforms that I am aware of that are actually able to do something like this, and this is a very sought after feature and something that's extremely real world usable. For me personally, this will always be a better option than associating a separate notebook to a document. Why? Well, simply because we're in direct control of, first of all, where we want to insert a notebook page in our PDF document, and most importantly, we can easily export the entire document, including the inserted notebook pages and notes, as a single PDF document to share further on. Again, The Origin shows that it's geared towards real-world professional usability and productivity, while still a little bit unstable and unoptimized and all of these kinds of things. Yes, it's a young platform, but the potential and the direction where they are thinking and where they're pointing, I think is a really, really important and a good one. Unfortunately, this is where the good news stops as far as reading experience goes, and the bad news starts. The bad news is that the PDF reader is a very unstable app at the moment. Yes, it offers a lot of functionality, but the real-world usage experience is at the moment far from smooth. And if you challenge the app in any way, it will more often than not freeze and crash. Hopefully, in the future and in the near future, we will see both a standardization between ebooks and documents so that we have a similar experience, or ideally that they're handled in one powerful app. That is probably going to take more time because it's quite a lot of work, but in the meantime it would be good to get some optimizations and stabilizations of the existing platforms. However, it's not all doom and gloom, because underneath, don't forget, we're running an Android 8.1 system, and it makes it possible to install other apps. So in this case, I installed Kindle and Kobo. So if I start running Kindle, then I open it up, and lo and behold, I have a normal Kindle app, an Android Kindle app that works as any other would. It has a dark theme, it has all these kinds of everything that you normally would have, except that this device is not audio capable. So no, you cannot have any kind of text-to-speech or anything like that, because yeah, no speakers, no audio capabilities. But as a reader, yeah, just download an app, install it, and off you go. And once you do, and you actually have a stable app, such as a Kindle or a Kobo, then it transforms into a rather nice reader experience. So the potential, the hardware potential and the system potential is definitely there. We just need that software implementation side of things to standardize, optimize, so that it can reach the levels of these more mature apps. Even though the Origin is running an Android 8.1 under the hood, the system is using a custom-built UI that offers a nice overall user experience. Learning curve is rather easy, and intuitiveness is quite high. Because, for example, there isn't a user manual available at the moment. That's how fresh and out of the box the platform is. They are working on it, of course, and an update will install it, and then you'll have a user manual on the product itself. But even as it was, I was able to quite easily figure out stuff out with just a little bit of trial and error, and within a day or two, I was feeling very, very comfortable with the platform, and it just kind of made sense. Users are able to have a fair bit of customization. So if you go into settings and display, you have an option of customizing these for shortcuts. So let's say, for example, I really don't want to use the calendar at all. I would rather use Kindle here, right? And then I can just do this and I'm done. And now my shortcut here is going to be Kindle, so I don't have to go into tools and all that kind of stuff. I can just press on Kindle and I go into my Kindle that way, which is really, really cool. However, the overall user experience could also use a little bit of improvement in standardization of the experience, mainly between, again, the e-reader and e-note side of things. What do I mean? Well, if you enter the notes mode, you're able to create new folders, and if I long press and I have a contextual menu, I am able to rename, cut, copy, backup, delete, and all of the usual stuff that you are normally used to. However, and as soon as I go into books, the folder and all that kind of stuff is gone completely. So you're not, at the moment, you're not able to organize it by folders. I can't do that. I can sort them and I can view them in different ways. So some options are there, but definitely not complete. And the contextual menu doesn't have an option of renaming, cut, copy, paste, or anything thing that you would normally associate. So that type of standardization definitely would be a very, very much needed thing. There isn't a Google Play Store per se, so you can't just log into a Google Play Store and then start installing. Instead, we do have two ways of obtaining and sideloading or installing other APK files or APKs into the platform. One is by using the APK Pure browser, which allows you to browse that and then install that way if that's something that you're looking for. The other option is the Mobi Store, which, when you're online, of course, then it works, offers a very limited but a useful selection of reading apps, tool apps, and of course this is where you can actually get some more templates to use in the notebooks. I hope that the future updates will standardize this experience, because then it will be a very nice overall UI adaptation of the Android system, I think at least, making it simple to use and learn, yet retaining the powerful and customizable aspect that the Android brings. As I mentioned before, you don't have that much peripheral connectivity or anything like that. So Mobiscribe Origin does not have a microphone, doesn't have a speaker, doesn't have audio capabilities of any kind. It doesn't have a Bluetooth, so you cannot hook up a keyboard or a mouse to it or anything like that. It's just, that's what it is. It's primarily a note-taking device. That does have some e-reader capabilities, and it does not support USB OTG. As it is, as I mentioned, primarily an e-note-taking device, I really don't think it needs any of these things, especially as far as USB OTG and storage capabilities goes, because we already have the SD storage, which allows you to expand it as much as you want, which is pretty much amazing. So you can expand, you can organize your SD cards, and you can back up the internal storage any way you see fit. And for the platform, I just think it works really, really good. Mobiscribe Origin has another unique thing up its sleeve, and it's a feature that they're calling MobiShare. MobiShare is a feature that's unique to this product, built specifically for working remotely during the pandemic. Just like conferencing, if you just enter a passcode, then all of your handwriting strokes will appear on all devices, no matter which one you're writing on. This sounds like a very, very powerful feature. I don't have two units here, so I can't really test it at this moment, but Mobiscribe are sending me another unit that I'm going to be able to use to test and demonstrate this feature on, and when I'm done with that, then that unit will be up for a giveaway for you guys. They've also mentioned that they're actively working very, very hard on a new feature that's not there yet, but it's the next big upcoming thing, which is called MobiCloud. It will enable the user to view their Mobiscribe notes on any browser without the need to convert to PDF or image files. Everything happens automatically and transparently. They are also planning to build iOS and Android apps, which will enable users to upload their files from their smartphones and then edit them directly in the Mobiscribe. MobiShare is already there. I just can't wait to test it out and to see how it works. And as far as MobiCloud goes, it sounds like a very, very useful way to broaden the platform even further. We also need to talk a little bit about the cover. Now, I've made my comments and first impressions very, very clear in the first impressions and unboxing video of the Mobiscribe. And the main thing is that it's of a kind of flobby-like character, and I characterized it as a taco. Now, my vocation is I'm primarily an animator and a video game developer, so everything that I see as a character, and I kind of personify things. So that's why this kind of thing reminded me of a taco that was talking. Now, unfortunately, that seems to have stick, but what's a really good thing here is that we have an opportunity to see how Mobiscribe reacts to this kind of thing, and that's something that's quite interesting because they acknowledge the fault, they are issuing a fix, they are issuing also like an updated version which remedies this problem. And for the bundle units that are still shipping with this taco type of cover, they are actually including it for free. So yes, the flip cover has some faults. I personally have grown to like it quite a bit, if I'm honest, but That's a very subjective thing. Objectively, yes, it does have faults, but subjectively, I don't know, irrationally, I like it on a purely emotional side of things. But what thoroughly impresses me here is customer relations from Mobiscribe. That's something that's a very good indication and smart PR as well. Alright, so it's the conclusion time for the Mobiscribe Origin, and as usual, let's start with the cons. The biggest con and most important con for me at the moment is the battery life. At the moment, even though it's a very, very early platform and everything like that, the battery life is short. It shouldn't be that short considering the battery that it has, or that I think that it has. If it has a drastically smaller battery, then yeah, it would make sense. I'm going to wait for a reply from them so that I can actually confirm this. But if it indeed is powered by a 2850 milliamp battery, then we have enough reason to hope that this battery life issue, which is a con now, is something that has reasonably good chances to be drastically improved in the future. Different handling of EPUB and PDF files. So this is something that definitely is a con for me. Both platforms have a lot of potential, but they also both require quite a bit of work to increase the performance, not so much performance, but stability and reliability. Performance is perfectly adequate, but it's not something that's stellar. Hopefully some of the updates will over time, shave a little bit here, a little bit there, and optimizations will bring a little bit more speed and consistency. I think consistency in performance in different tasks such as notebooks, ebooks, and documents. The initial OCR conversion is slow, so that's something that you have to take into consideration. But for me, everything on the other side of that OCR conversion, once the initial conversion is done, is such a huge benefit that for me it almost renders this con kind of irrelevant. Front light minimum should go lower as far as I'm concerned, because at the moment it's too bright for completely dark conditions, such as, for example, reading a book in bed when it's completely dark. The lowest intensity setting of the front light is still too high, so it would be good to see that a bit lower down. Small form factor could be a con for some, depending on what use case scenarios they're looking for. For me, it definitely isn't, because as far as I see it, Origin is a mobile notepad for taking down ideas and all of these kinds of things, and as such, for me, it's pretty much a perfect format. Default case, as I mentioned, it's kind of floppy and all that kind of stuff, but what really does impress me is, again, as I mentioned, the company's ability to turn a con in a very agile way into a pro. That's a very, very mature thing to see from a company like this. And now, on to the pros. First of all, for me, it's the absolutely fantastic writing experience and quality and feedback that you get. Device, the notebook itself, and the pen combined together, they just give this truly unmatched pressure sensitivity, precision, and responsiveness. Great pen. Even though it's not made out of metal or anything like that, it has everything that it needs to be. It's balanced well, it's built well. Yes, it's plastic, but it's good plastic. There's no seams or anything like that. Really good build quality. Has an eraser at the end, has a fidget at the end that can work as a fidget as well, if that's something that you want. Uses standard nibs. Nibs that it comes with are excellent. It feels great. It has excellent pressure sensitivity, and it's of a standard size and standard hexagonal Stadler type of a pen. So for me, great pen. Notebook functionality and flexibility, all of the features that I mentioned, they're just absolutely amazing. Even as it is now, as early as it is now, with all faults and all these kind of things, the positives simply outweigh all of the weaknesses that I also covered. So for me, the notebook functionality is exceptionally good. Precision and quality of the OCR conversion is better than any other platform that I've worked with, or as far as e-ink devices go. It's most of the time I don't have to correct pretty much anything. It just converts and it's all good. To top it all off, it's persistent, which means it's saved with the notebook after resets, power-offs, or whatever. Even after backups, I assume, I haven't tested, but I'm guessing if it's saved with a note file, then that would be freaking amazing. And it's done locally, so you don't have to be online, you don't have to go through any servers or any clouds, anything. It's all self-contained on this little device. Really, really amazing. Coupled with that OCR conversion, you have excellent note search capabilities, not only word search, written word search, but you also have those management options for bookmarking page and note marking pages, basically adding tags, which makes the notebook so much more manageable and robust as a system. Ability to store your notebooks and back them up in their native format. That, for me, maybe not for some, but for me, for the longevity of a product, if you intend to use this daily and you sketch and you take notes and you have doodles or whatever it may be, with that, coupled with that micro SD card, that's just such a thoughtful thing to add, because you can back it up at any given point. You don't rely on any cloud service, on any account or anything like that. You just get your little SD card, slot it in, back up all of your notes, and you're good to go. That's a really, really cool thing to see. And since I've mentioned the micro SD slot, and expandable external storage, and oddly enough, 200 gigabytes here, slot it in, and it works. So yeah, with this one I have 232 gigabytes of storage. Maybe if I had a 400 gigabyte SD card, maybe it would recognize that as well. I don't know, but this is the limit that I have at the moment, and I'm thoroughly impressed with that. General ease of use, despite it being an Android OS kind of system, which tends to be a little bit more complicated because it has a lot of options and all these kind of things, the ease of use is very nice and it's very, very intuitive, especially because there's no user manual at the moment. Hopefully that will change very soon, which will make things even easier, but yeah, even out of the box like this, it's intuitive, easy to figure out, so I think it's going to be something that's approachable. Flexibility and customizability. As simple as it is, you're allowed to install additional apps, Kindle, Kobo, or whatever it may be that you want. You can customize those icons on top, you can add custom sleeping screens, you can add your custom templates, you can create custom templates using the advanced features of notebooks, as I've mentioned, and all of these kinds of things. So very, very powerful and flexible, despite it being quite a small and deceptively simple package. At $250 for a bundle, I think that it's still an extremely good value, especially when you take into consideration and if you look at it as what it's supposed to be, a mobile notebook. As such, it's an excellent value for money. Even though I haven't had previous interactions with Mobiscribe, I've checked out their way of interacting with customers on Facebook groups and all these kind of things. And I gotta say that how agile they are, how communicative they are, and how approachable they are, at the moment I can see great customer relations. If that translates into great customer service, most likely it does, because it is a vital element of customer service. So this is something that we don't talk about that often, customer relations, and which are the sub-elements of good customer service. For me, customer relations parts is a very important one, and that one I already see that is very, very good with Mobiscribe. How to summarize the Mobiscribe Origin. Mobiscribe Origin is a platform that is in its infancy, but even so, it clearly shows off its focus and what it's meant to be, which is a mobile digital note-taking device. Already now, as such as it is, in several key areas, it not only matches the competition, but it also rises above them. It offers for me, subjectively, pretty much the most enjoyable writing experience that I have had on any device so far. No, it's not as fast as Remarkable 2 or Paper or even Note Air and Supernote as well. They're all under that 50 millisecond kind of bar. This one isn't, but even so, for me, it offers an experience that I simply want to come back to, and I just want to continue using it because it brings me joy. It's very, very enjoyable to write, doodle, think, and transfer those thoughts onto it, and it's It's a little bit difficult to quantify it, but that's why I'm saying that it's, for me personally, that's the experience that I get from it. One thing that I can attest to is that the quality and the comfort of writing is exceptionally high. And it's mainly due to that pressure sensitivity combination of the pen and the device and the notebook app itself. It just offers an unparalleled level of control and pressure sensitivity, which directly translates into writing comfort. All of these things should be taken with a little bit of grain of salt, because these are subjective impressions, and it's extremely likely that something that's enjoyable and really nice for me, it can be equally nice for you, or it might not. So it's something that's very difficult to translate, but for me, it's like objectively extremely good writing experience, subjectively pretty much the best I've had. When you couple all of these things with excellent notebook management functionality, such as bookmarking, note marking, advanced tools, the inserting text boxes, images and tables, different shapes, all of these things combined transform the note-taking aspect of the Mobiscribe Origin into something much more than a simple e-note device. MobiShare and MobiCloud also sound like very interesting concepts, and I can't wait to actually test them out, because potentially they can expand the functionality and the usability in real world of the Mobiscribe Origin platform. The reader side of things really needs a lot of work, and as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't use it as a reader for documents at this stage if we're using the current apps, because they need optimization and stability kind of improvements. However, don't forget that you are able to install another PDF reader if you so choose, in which case it works really reliably and the system is able to handle these things well. So you are able to easily transform and kind of bypass current limitations of the reader side of things by installing a Kindle, Kobo, or your favorite PDF reader onto the Mobiscribe Origin. The only real concern is the battery life, but even that, there is still quite a lot of room and objective possibility that this will also improve with the future updates. However, as it is now, March 2021, the battery life on Mobiscribe Origin is not the best. The bottom line for me with the Origin is this. After a couple of weeks now of using it, I don't want to part with it. I want it to be in my pocket at all times so that I can use it to doodle, brainstorm, to capture ideas, to design, to write stories, to write sketches, to write whatever it may be, and also to find new ways and new places where I can enjoy using it. It's one of those rare devices that manages to have a personality, and it can become a lovable companion rather than just a simple device that becomes obsolete after months or a year that you would just chuck away and discard. Mobiscribe is eco-aware company, which is something that I value quite a bit. They're also US based, which translates into quality and level of customer support and communication. And that's something that's quite an important consideration to keep. I'll always appreciate a device that has a backstory, that has passion behind it, that actually translates when you start using it. And Mobiscribe Origin definitely communicates that passion that was directly implemented into it during its creation and design process and all of these kinds of things. Also, these kinds of devices that are able to, that you're able to form an emotional connection with, you tend to keep with you for a longer period of time and use them in different ways. Now, I'm a technophile, and I really do value the mentality behind making a product last, especially in today's culture of making things obsolete after a couple of months. That kind of approach for me, making a product last, it allows me time to form a connection with the device, to form a workflow, a lifestyle. It allows the device to actually slot itself into my lifestyle, and then it kind of changes your lifestyle, the workflow and all of these kinds of things. And after a while, it becomes a part of your lifestyle routines and all of these kinds of things, which is a really good thing to have. Mobiscribe Origin, for me at least, managed to do that, quite easily. This product will not be for everyone. Its size and current reader limitations are bound to deter some. But if what you're looking for is a mobile companion that you intend to use anywhere and everywhere for hopefully years to come, and to truly be able to make it your own personal or professional digital notebook, Mobiscribe definitely fits that bill. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe and consider dinging the notification bell to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide. Thank you so much for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!